There's a very good chance that any of these 8 fragrances could become your next favorite signature scent. These are the type of things that really get you hooked. You know, you might wear it once or twice and end up really liking it, and then it becomes a habit almost. It's so easy, it smells so good, people love it, and you just kind of start wearing it every day or at least several times a week, and it just kind of spirals from there. I've been guilty of this a lot. You know, I kind of get hooked on something and I just wear it, you know, very frequently for some period of time until I kind of get over that for a while and then move on to something else. A lot of times it's because it's easy. When you have a sizable collection of fragrances, it can be convenient to just gravitate towards a couple ones in particular, because you don't have to come down here and sit for 5 or 10 minutes and decide what you want to wear. You can just pick something up, spray it on, and go about your day. And so these are perfect for that situation or that predicament that you might be in. You can grab these and wear them for pretty much anything, any time of year for the most part. And if any of these kind of catch your attention, I'll link them down below and you can pick them up at discounters. But this first one is Azzaro Chrome Parfum. So this is one of my favorite chrome flankers. You know, really, it's kind of between this and Extreme for me as far as what I think to be are some of the best ones within the lineup. These days, I wouldn't really recommend the original chrome all that much. I just think for the money, there are better options out there at that price point, maybe even a bit cheaper than that. And then, of course, if you want to spend a little bit more money, there's an infinite amount of options out there that I think are better than the original chrome nowadays. And really, you don't have to look too far. You can just go to a couple of the other chrome flankers, like I mentioned, Chrome Extreme, Chrome Parfum. They're fantastic, and they're not a whole lot more money. Now, this new Parfum, or relatively new of the past few years, is not quite as cheap as some of the others, but it's pretty quickly coming down in price. It's got bergamot, sage, and fir resin. Nice, aromatic, soapy, fresh, kind of blue take a little bit on that DNA. So they don't list off ambroxan or anything like that, but you kind of get just a little bit of like a fuzzy, sweet freshness that you might equate to an ambroxan, ambergris feel to some slight extent. But I want to double down on the fact that it is soapy. It kind of has a shower gel smell to it, very clean, just refreshing, and it smells like you're very well put together when you have this one on. There's just not a situation that you couldn't use this one for, which is a lot of the appeal. So if you get this one in, you wear it, you like it, and it works well on your skin, you can pull this stuff off every day. And like I said, it's coming down in price to the point where it's affordable enough that it could be an everyday signature scent if you wanted it to be. Also, some bonus points, it's a parfum, and it has great performance as well. Next up, we have Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Intense. So we've got vanilla, lavender, and some vetiver here. And I believe that's all of the notes that they give us for this one. So another one of those 3-note breakdown scenarios that's becoming more and more common. That's kind of the main bulk of what this one is made up of. You know, and of course there's other things existing to support those notes too, but it's just kind of a marketing thing. And I'll have to say, and I have to give credit where credit's due, when I compare this to the original Born in Roma, huge difference. It's night and day. I'll take the Intense over the original anytime. And it really makes the original obsolete. And it's just one that I probably wouldn't wear nearly as much at this point. And it's not to say that it's bad either. I just think this one is better. I think they do a better job at creating something that's at least a little bit more interesting than the original. So you're getting a little bit of a sweet balance here. You're getting some freshness as well, okay, but the vanilla is a really nice touch. The vetiver gives it a nice woody, earthy undertone and also gives it just a little bit more of a grown-up feel, but it still maintains kind of more of a newer, modern style that you would expect from a newer designer release. But it's not anywhere as bubblegummy or sweet or anything like that as some of the others. You know, they're not focusing all on the tonka and vanilla like a lot of the others. You know, they're just kind of doing things at least a little bit differently here. And going back to the theme of the video, it's going to be another very wearable one. Now, this one might be pushing it a little bit in terms of spring, summer wear and being very versatile, might not be at the top of your list. I think it would be great for spring and summer evenings, 100%. But daytime, when you're outdoors, it might get a little bit too sweet. Now, bear in mind, a lot of people might work indoors in air conditioning, 70 degrees, right? This type of thing would work perfect for that. So it just depends on an infinite number of things, and one of which being, are you going to be spending time indoors or outdoors? And if you can kind of answer that question, you'll know if this one is a good fit for all year around. So it just depends. But I think this one still is a great signature scent style scent. It's a little bit more expensive, but still not outrageous in the grand scheme of things. So it also depends on your budget and some other factors. Next up, we have a cologne. Now, this is a cologne of something that I believe would be a fantastic signature scent. However, the real deal is expensive. It's a niche product, and it would just be very expensive and kind of heartbreaking to wear it and spray it every single day when you think that you're just going to have to repurchase it again sometime in the relatively near future, depending on how much you're applying, if you're reapplying throughout the day, and if you really are wearing it on a daily basis. So this is Amber Oud Exclusive Blue, and this is a clone of Parfums de Marly Layton. And I absolutely love everything about Layton, aside from, I guess, the kind of rough availability on discounters nowadays. It used to be in stock on discounters pretty much all the time for a price that was pretty far below retail. Things have changed a little bit. But just talking about the scent itself, it's fantastic. Now, it's another sweeter one, more fall and winter. It's got a lot of vanilla, warm spices, tonka, all of that good stuff. A little bit of a kind of a menthol texture and smell kind of kick off the opening. There's so much to love about it. I could go on about it all day, and I have before, so I'll spare you that. But like I said, it's expensive, and it's just going to be, too much for most people for an everyday wear scent. This one comes into play at about $60. So when you compare that to Layton's retail price of $365 and the kind of average discounter price of, $240 and sometimes a bit below, it's a big difference. 60 versus 250 or 300 or more. That's a big gap. As far as clones go, though, $60 is a bit more expensive than average. A lot of fragrance clones out there are anywhere from $20 to $40, somewhere around in there. Now, there are cheaper clones of Layton, like Detour Noir by Al Haramain. Love it. It's a $25 to maybe $30 scent. And it's one of the best Layton clones you can buy for the price. I do think if you want to, throw in double the amount of money, you get a product that is more than double the quality and just is still going to be overall better. And that's not to say that Detour Noir is bad, but when you have them side by side and you spend time with both of them, there is a big difference in quality between the two. And this still doesn't have PDM Layton quality, but it's a lot closer than you might expect. It has great performance as well. It's a parfum concentration, so you get that parfum wearing experience of just really being heavy and kind of leaving a heavy trail in the air. This is a great one if you want to smell like Layton for less. And in the wintertime, fall, great signature scent. And again, summer evenings, whatever, indoors, it's not a problem. Switching things up a little bit, we have John Varvatos Artisan Blue. So I love John Varvatos. I think their Artisan line is very, very good, above average for the price, and I don't want to necessarily say underrated because a lot of the Artisans have gotten a fair amount of love over the years. I will say that has gone down because their newer releases have been less exciting. However, these classics, Artisan Blue, Artisan Aqua, Dark Rebel Rider, even Artisan Pure, which is a bit newer, but still at this point, I guess, kind of more of a classic. All of those are just some top tier designer fragrances. So this one has basil, pine, cedarwood, geranium, and a ton of other notes. Huge note breakdown in this one. Back in the day when they did it right and they gave you a bunch to go off of. Sometimes it can be a bit too much and a bit overwhelming, and that's kind of the case here. There's a lot going on, but to make it simple, it's a green, citrusy, aromatic. It's not a blue scent. And this has been one of my major issues with this one, if you want to call it that, or just more so something that I think is misleading to a lot of people. This is not a blue fragrance. Now, this came out before the ambroxan thing was popular as well, so it's another thing to keep in mind. So, you know, you might look at this and be like, oh, blue scent without trying it. Not the case. It is a green scent, green and aromatic and citrusy, okay, and woody as well. There's no ambroxan, there's no C notes. I think the name and the bottle coloring and the styling is just off, you know, misleading. With all of that aside and just focusing on the scent, it's a beauty. Smells so good. It is phenomenal for springtime and works just as well in summer. For, I think, I don't know, $40 or sometimes a bit less, you cannot go wrong with this. It's amazing. Next up, we have Brioni Eau de Parfum Eclat. So this is going to be kind of their Eau Fraiche or summer version of, you know, the Eau de Parfum, the Eau de Parfum Intense and things like that. Now, the Eau de Parfum, very violet leaf heavy, kind of fresh on its own, right? The Eau de Parfum Intense, getting sweeter, so it's got a bitter orange and things like that, but then you're getting some sweeter, heavier notes on top of it. This one kind of is just going to be on the freshest end of things. So kind of standard and pretty typical for, you know, designer and even niche lines to do this. They kind of start in the middle, they go sweet, and then maybe they come back with something overly fresh just to give you a bunch of variety. And so again, it's not to say that you can't wear the Eau de Parfum as a signature scent all year around. You absolutely could, but I think this one might be a bit more suitable if you want something that's even a bit more versatile. So it has a really nice, kind of punchy, sour citrus opening, drying down to a lot of musk, some light woods, nothing crazy like cedar wood or anything like that. Some green, geranium, kind of minty undertones, just really, really pleasing and refreshing. It's another one that you just can't mess up and that people are just going to love. And I don't really see anyone thinking that this smells bad or off-putting. It's super easy to pull off. Next up, we have Narciso Rodriguez Blue Noir Eau de Parfum. So another one with blue in the name, but it is not a blue fragrance by today's definition, meaning a load of ambroxan. So it's not Sauvage, Dylan Blue, anything like that. Instead, it's got musk, vetiver, and cedarwood. So maybe not what you're expecting. It's very woody. That's essentially the name of the game. It's woody and it's musky. It's masculine, it's more traditional, it's going against the grain compared to today's new style of fragrances. And I think that's great, just because not everybody wants something that's overly sweet. It's not everybody's style, especially, you know, when that's kind of what is surrounding you. Everybody wearing things like that, you might want to stand out. And really, it's kind of easier to stand out because you can just go back in time to older fragrances that you might even already have. And then you're just going to be able to stand out. You know, these Blue Noirs are not all that expensive either. They're $50, $60. They're mid-range, just slightly above mid-range, some of them, but really, really fair pricing on these. I wouldn't expect them to cost $30, $35 because they smell more expensive than that, but I wouldn't really expect them to be going for, you know, $100, $110 or more on discounters either, because they're not quite that good. So I think they're priced right, and I think they're very fair. I'm a big fan of this one here, L'Eau d'Issey Pour Homme Intense by Issey Miyake. It's a unique summer scent, and you just don't get that all that often. It's got yuzu, incense, ambergris, and another one that has a lot of other notes as well, some other citruses and grapefruit and nutmeg in here, and a whole bunch of stuff. It's kind of all over the board, but it smells good. And, you know, whenever I see incense and a summer scent, I get excited, you know, and that was done in Bleu de Chanel, which is kind of an all year round signature scent, right? The incense and grapefruit, birch, all of that. And this doesn't smell like Bleu de Chanel, but it does have a very classy, sophisticated smell, even though it's a summer scent. And again, that isn't all that common. A lot of summer fragrances will be very casual and a lot of times just younger smelling. So this is not really that. It's something that just is going to give you more of a mature and well put together feeling and just kind of an extra level of confidence that you wouldn't normally get from a standard summer scent. So this one works great for the time of year that we're going into, or that we're kind of already in right now. Some of you guys, you know, we've been having some sunny and 80+ degree days. That would be good for this one. You know, the incense and the nutmeg and things like that, don't let it scare you. This one still works great in the heat. Last up for this video, we have Polo Deep Blue Parfum. It is a blue fragrance, okay? So this is the one like true blue fragrance by today's definition. So to be fair, it's different than Sauvage, Dylan Blue, so on and so forth. It has the ambroxan to a pretty heavy extent. It has the Polo Blue base, which on its own is a bit more gentlemanly and kind of, you know, classic, old school, right? And then it has mango. So that kind of gives a unique twist. Blue fragrance, mango style, has kind of a peppery smell as well. So you get a lot of bite and a lot of texture out of this one, but it's not overly peppery and obnoxious like Dior Sauvage either. So they just kind of found their own little nook and they made this one stand out, which I think is respectable considering the blue fragrance ambroxan genre or style is densely populated at this point. This one stands out on its own, very versatile. It's a great compliment Polar. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. Some fantastic signature scents that I think might become your next favorite. One of these or a couple of these, or if you end up picking all of them up, you might really work your way through a lot of these because you find that they're easy, they're no-brainers, and they just work really well. I'll link them down below. And if you want to be notified when brand new fragrance releases hit discounters like Paradise Garden, Acqua di Gio Profondo Parfum, or if you want to be notified when rare, discontinued, hard to find fragrances come into stock, you guys can jump on my mailing list and texting list at the link and number down below. We cover all of that stuff. We do all of the work, all of the digging for you. That way you don't have to spend time searching through discounters front to back every day. We do all of that. And then we bring you the best deals and restocks and finds that you can possibly imagine. So I'll see you guys over there as well. But thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.